Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Aphrodite, aka Madam Suave. If you are new here, I would like to welcome you to the community. Be sure to check the description box below and like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. Remember that energy is timeless and fluid. This could be past, present, or future energy. Flip roles if they need to be reversed, and only take a resonates, leaving the rest for who it is meant for. So there was an energy that I began to feel last night, and I do want to make this a quick message because when I originally got this message, as I started to kind of dive and delve into this message, I was feeling like it was something that we already have spoken about. And you may remember that in another message, I said that there was someone that you were trying to communicate with who it seemed like you were repeating yourself to over and over and over again, and that you could be tired of repeating yourself. And so that is kind of an energy that I am getting here. Maybe you stopped speaking to this person for a while because you were hoping maybe they just needed some time to kind of self-reflect. Maybe they needed some time to actually reflect on the things that you said. You were hoping that they would come to some sort of realization, some sort of self-realization, or whatever the case, okay? But you're going to see towards the end the other meaning that I kind of found or was getting from this as well, okay? But there is someone that you are trying to reach, and I'm getting that you are trying to reach them through love. They can hear you and they can also feel you, but there is a blockage that is keeping them from receiving or accepting it. So when I say there is something blocking them, it is literally as if they are, blocking themselves, or they're kind of like blocking it out. It's like they are off in a far away land, but they can hear echoes. Okay, this is kind of what it sounds like as you speak to them. It's like echoes, but okay, and so when I'm saying echoes, I'm almost thinking maybe these are things that you have said that they are thinking about or thinking back upon, but may not have actually heard your voice in a while, okay? They may not have heard your voice in a while. So for some of you, this may be someone who is in an actual coma or in a state of psychosis. A coma is to be unconsciously conscious, and psychosis is to be consciously unconscious, okay? So they both feel like a long dream. Now, when I say that you are unconsciously conscious, that means, physically you are unconscious. If someone were to, read your conscious levels on a computer, you are deemed unconscious. You are kind of there hooked up to machines. Obviously, you can't move, you can't do anything, but it's like when you are inside of yourself, you are still fully conscious of everything, if that makes sense, okay? Now, psychosis, being consciously unconscious, it means to know that you are unconscious, okay? One is restricted from movement and the other is restricted from positive emotion and unable to restrict movement or acting upon emotion, okay? Because positive energy does mean action. It is a moving forward motion. So in other words, when I say they are restricted from positive emotion means that you are able to kind of progress, okay? I mean, they are restricted from feeling anything that could potentially move them into a positive direction, and you'll see why here, okay? The difference between coma and psychosis, okay? So coma is like you want to get back to the real world, and psychosis is preferring to stay in illusion or resisting the real world. And in some case, actually real quick before I go forward, let me actually rephrase that, because a coma, for some of them, they may want to get back to the real world, and other people maybe they go into a coma and maybe they actually wouldn't mind leaving, okay? But it's almost like they're waiting for some sort of permission, okay? So that those are two things I'm getting, okay? Coma, it really depends. Like it's a choice. And I mean, it's a choice for both, but we will, hold on. Okay, it's a choice for both, but let me continue, okay? So psychosis is preferring to stay in illusion, resisting the real world, and in turn, resisting your love, because love equates to the truth and reality. So this person, they don't want to feel the negative emotions, but the positive side of it does not seem all that positive either, okay? Because they cannot have what they want. They are stuck in the subconscious, but they are also avoiding the subconscious. And kind of the image that I was getting was literally like someone wandering around in the dark with their eyes closed, okay? So they only believe the things that make them happy or feel good. This is very, very much like a drug, okay? The effects of a drug, and does not jeopardize the reality they have created in their own head, okay? This is kind of acting as like a safety blanket for security. So for them, if they do not have the ability to trick their brain, they literally feel like they would be nothing, okay? So this is false positivity to keep them going, except they are going nowhere because it is false and therefore still negative energy posing as positive. So as I have said, energy is just energy, okay? And energy only knows energy. Energy cannot be disguised. Faith without works is dead. In other words, this is delusion, or as I stated yesterday, wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is the formation of beliefs based on what might be pleasing to imagine rather than on evidence, rationality, or reality. It is a product of resolving conflicts between belief and desire. So they are clinging to false belief because the truth doesn't support their desires. And right now, the only things that they can hear are the parts of their subconscious that they refuse to face. And that is what's standing in the way and blocking them from receiving. In other words, when I say, the parts of their subconscious that they don't want to face, this is also their fear. And so they are driven by fear. And their biggest one right now is reality. Their identity is based on how they feel, and how they feel is based on what they have. And they have to believe that they have it in order to maintain the way that they feel about themselves. But emotions are temporary and fleeting. And the person they know, they have now drowned out because they cannot believe who they have become and don't want to, leaving them in a form of a coma, okay? They are in a battle by themselves, fighting between resistance and acceptance, and their demons are winning because they prefer to resist and therefore repel. The pilot of Mars has died in the air, and the co-pilot is barely clinging to life in a failing aircraft, okay? The reason why I say Mars energy is because we are in Aries season, which is Mars ruled, and it is also April, the 4th month, which is connected to Mars as well, okay? And so the pilot, I am calling the pilot, which is going to be Aries, okay? And Scorpio is going to be the co-pilot. The reason why I say that is because remember how I said, your desires, or for you to be able to kind of maintain long-term goals, is that they need to be rooted in yourself, right? And so if you do not have a strong identity of yourself, if you are not convicted in yourself, you cannot stand firm within yourself without being focused on desires, because that is now looking outside of yourself, okay? When those two things are not in alignment. And so the pilot, okay, which is Aries, has died, okay, which is the I am. Because remember I said that they have now drowned this person out, okay? So that person is dying, and they are solely driven by desires, okay? That is why I'm saying that. So this is a failing aircraft, okay? Because your desires will take you every which way. Because when you are ruled only by desire, then you are basically ruled by nothing but chaos, okay? Chaotic energy. They can see all of this happening, but they are paralyzed from being able to do anything about it. There's too much conflict going on in the mind as well as emotionally. So their mind is set solely on what they desire, as I've already said, okay, solely on what they desire, and therefore they are operating and focused outside of themselves. This is like literally, okay, this is not just a this is not just a figure of speech. This is like literally at this point, okay? The lights are on, but nobody's home. At this point, all you can do is wait. And I am getting that, this may hurt to just kind of stand by and do nothing, but you feel like you have done all that you can do, and they are unable to understand this. You cannot fight or do the work for them, nor can you protect them from everything, especially when they continue to make poor choices and decisions. Everything does have consequences, and failure to take those into consideration does not excuse you from the consequences of your actions, nor is anyone else liable or required to take on those consequences with you, especially if they've already exhausted energy and resources to help you and you fail to learn your lesson. So this is like taking a test and failing, knowing all the answers to the questions that you got wrong, retaking the test with the same wrong answers, and then crying because you failed again. So it's not just the first time nor the second time, which implies that you lack the ability to apply correction. And I was getting that for someone, okay, you may have told whoever this person is, okay, you may have told this to someone and they did not like your response. They could have just ignored you or drowned you out. And it's like they know what the truth is. It's just that the truth is threatening to them, like they are allergic to it. So if they are wondering why you're not helping them, it's because they cannot be helped, or this is how you are feeling. Like I said, you have exhausted a lot of energy, okay, and you are not really willing to exhaust any more of that energy, because like I said before, I've said this before, okay, it is a losing battle. Some people never break out of the ego, and like the sun, the ego is very blinding that they don't even know that they are stuck. So the sun is connected to the head, which is responsible for cognitive functioning. And when you are too distracted trying to protect yourself from your fragile ego, you are too blind to recognize because you never saw it in the first place. So many believe that they know God, but have yet to meet him. To know God is to know thyself. To be blind to yourself is to be blind to God. No one can see me and live, because you must die to your ego and flesh. God is truth, and until you know and acknowledge the truth of yourself, you do not know truth, nor do you know God. But when he, the Spirit of truth, has come, he will guide you into all truth, for he will not speak on his own authority, but whatever he hears, he will speak, and he will declare to you the things that are to come. Something that I had forgot to mention when I was saying, someone felt like you weren't helping them, or they needed to hear you, felt like they were not hearing you. I was getting that this is also not just you as a figurative person, but someone was feeling like, God had stopped speaking to them. And it was because of the fact that they could not hear. So God never stopped talking to you. You stopped talking to God because you refused to hear. And therefore you rejected God, not the other way around. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God. And every spirit that confesses not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of God, he that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and every one that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. And that goes in the reverse as well. So we are speaking about the love of God, not the love of the world. Love is much, much more complex than that, okay? So that is all I have for you guys today. If you found this message helpful, if you found anything that resonated in this message with you, I do ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. And I'll see you guys on next time. Love you all. Bye.